Hey everybody, this is part of our full-length primetime podcast. You can check it out on Blog Talk Radio, iTunes, YouTube, plenty more. I hope you enjoy.
And okay, let's end the podcast with something that Brandon and I have been doing the last couple of weeks as we've been taking a prospect for this upcoming year in college football and kind of looking ahead a little bit, kind of having more of these 2018 NFL draft topics to get the hype going a little bit for next year's draft season. If you want to check those out, we talked about Saquon Barkley, Josh Allen, Josh Rosen. We even did a sub one where we mentioned some other guys as well. So go check those out on our YouTube page and, of course, blogtalkradio.com/primetime podcast for all your primetime podcast needs. But today I'm going to look at this is a prospect that was brought up to me when we did our Josh Allen video, and the comment came from Charlie Boltman. Hope I said your last name right, man. But Charlie, basically in the beginning of the comment before going on into Allen, said, and I quote, I think it all depends on how teams grade Arden Key from LSU and who has the top pick. Arden Key is easily my top-rated college prospect, followed by Saquon Barkley and then Josh Allen. And another reason why I'm like, hey, let's talk about Arden Key today is it was said by their defensive coordinator that, hey, we expect him to be back. We're going to make a decision this week as SEC spring meetings go on. And then today, as I'm recording this podcast on Wednesday, Ed Orgeron said, hey, classes start on Monday, and I expect Arden Key to be there. So LSU right now is confident that Arden Key will be back with them this season. I know that over the summer, Arden Key was like, I got to step away, said, it wasn't anything to do with injury. Ed Orgeron expects him to be back this season. And really the question that I'm talking about today is he going to be the best defensive prospect? And it's hard not to take Arden Key right now and blatantly just compare him to Myles Garrett, because Myles Garrett was the guy number one pick in the draft last year, a pass rusher just like Arden Key. I know at the beginning of the podcast I mentioned, defensive lineman. He's more of that hybrid. He's played on the line, but he's an outside linebacker technically by position. And when I looked at the film, when I was watching his film, there were things that jumped out to me when it came to Arden Key. And the first one, and maybe this is me, like I was saying, the blatant kind of comparison to a Myles Garrett. The first thing I noticed is Arden Key does not give up on the ball or does not give up on the play. There had been several plays where I know that the ones where, okay, he overextends because he's got to outrun the lineman and come up behind the quarterback. Those ones you're going to go 100%. But even if like the quarterback started to run out of the pocket, he would chase the quarterback. He would go with the play. He would not stop until the play is over, where there were numerous piles where it's like, okay, he's tackled up. There's Arden Key. Not blatantly late where you'd need a penalty, but he was going to get in on that pile before the next play. That's something I look into. And I mean, compared to a Myles Garrett, who, and like I said, maybe this is me just blatantly comparing him to Myles Garrett because Garrett had just gone number one last year. I love that about Key more than Garrett, because the biggest complaint with Garrett was that he's lazy and gives up plays. Those were the big kind of negatives that were thrown out with Myles Garrett. You know, he's lazy and he gives up on plays. And I watch Arden Key's film. Just from the film that I watched, I don't see that. I see a guy that goes and gives it is 110%. He's going to go after the ball. And really, like, I look at it and I go, wow, that is something I want in a pass rusher, someone who is going to be relentless and not give up on a play even if the ball moves while he's trying to get to that quarterback. Another thing I noticed is dude's got speed. This dude has got mad speed. There was one, I think it was from the Jacksonville State game. I saw in the film where he did a kind of out and cut in right past the lineman. And when you get him one-on-one with the quarterback, if I was the quarterback, I would have crapped my pants. That's basically how quick he is, where it seems like 0 to 100 like that, where boom, it's just tunnel vision right down. He just gets quicker and quicker until he gets to that quarterback. And this is a guy where I can see, of course, it depends on the asterisks and the kind of disclaimer, hey, got to have a good 2017 year. But this is a guy coming in where I see he has the tools. He has the tools to be a first-round pick. There's a reason why I want to say he's in the early to mid-teens in Todd McShay's early mock draft. But part of me wants to agree with my man Charlie. Part of me wants to go and say, hey, you know what? There's a chance that Arden Key's a top 5 pick in this draft. And of course, this year with the draft, the kind of unique thing of it is going to be if you need a quarterback, if you need a quarterback in that top 5, you're going to go get a quarterback. If you need a quarterback in that top 10 and they're available, you're going to go get a quarterback. There are going to be numerous ones. I mean, my top 5 alone, just the top 4 even, because Luke Falk, Mason Rudolph, and Baker Mayfield are tied for my 5, but my top 4, I feel, could all go in the top 5, depending on which teams are there, where you have Darnold, Allen, Rosen, and Jackson in no particular order. Those guys, as of right now, boom, top 4, and I would have them all as top 5 picks coming into the 2018 NFL Draft. However, Arden Key is going to be unique because, I mean, I look at his stats his freshman year, played 12 games, had 41 total tackles, 6.5 for loss, 5 sacks. He upped all those numbers in his sophomore year in one less game. He had 55 tackles, 12.5 tackles for loss, which to me, you're almost doubling. You were half a sack away from doubling your TFL output from the year before. And then he went ahead and doubled his sack numbers and got 11 for last season. So if he can go out there, and I'm not even going to throw out the number of, I know in one of the audio clips, because it was from ESPN on the film that I was watching from him to get ready for this segment of the podcast, I know they mentioned like, well, you know what? He's really shooting for 20 sacks this year, and he didn't get it. He only got 11 sacks last year. But man, if he could get 20 sacks, if he could even up that a little bit more and get like 15 sacks, I'm going to say like the 15 to 18 sack range, up those tackles for losses. And that to me, looking at the film, looking at the stats, the tackles for loss really jumps out to me because I look at seeing the 6.5 to 12.5 and then watching what kind of a player he is in his film, because, you know, the cliche, tape don't lie. This is a guy that is going to give it his 110%, and he's not going to give up on a play. You will not, I guarantee it, when we get to the 2018 NFL Draft and Mark and I in the Onside Kick are talking about the different prospects and their weaknesses and their strengths, a weakness for this guy will not be that he's lazy and gives up on plays. That will be the furthest thing from the truth with Arden Key. And I think this kid's going to be, to answer the question that I'm posing out there of will he be the best defensive prospect, I think he will be. I think that Arden Key is going to be the best defensive prospect this year in the 2018 NFL Draft. And really what it comes down to, and the two guys that I'm kind of looking at for the kind of top spot for defensive, because I mean, Todd McShay had him at 11, so even higher, a little bit higher than I had said with early to mid-teens. To me, this year is going to come down to either Christian Wilkins or Arden Key. Which kind of guy is going to be our best our best defensive player? Pardon me. I mean, I think the top 3, if I had to put another one in there, there's going to be 3 guys I look at. Wilkins from Clemson, Key from LSU, and then Derwin James from Florida State. I think that every single year we get that where it's linemen and the kind of pass rushers. That's what we get there. And then we also get that safety, like look at the Jalen Ramseys and all that we got the kind of, this is the guy that is going to be our top safety. Look, even Jamal Adams and Malik Hooker from last year. There's always those safeties that are highly touted, especially, and we're hyping them up into the top 5. So Key, Wilkins, and Derwin James are going to be, right now, the guys I think are the top 3, and really Arden Key, the really big one. I think it's going to be him and Wilkins that we are talking about because, I mean, Wilkins finished second on Clemson last year with 13 tackles for loss, and he was just behind Carlos Watkins with 13.5. So he had 13 tackles for loss, and I mean, you look at that, and that's just a little bit, it's not much above Arden Key, but I think that's what we look at this year. And I know what you're saying, Ricky, not much. It's half a tackle a loss ahead of Arden Key. I think that's what it's going to come down to. Who has more tackles for loss? Who has more sacks? Because I like Arden Key from watching the film from last year. He looks like a guy that doesn't give up on plays. He definitely has the speed. The only thing I kind of question right now is I know according to College Football Pro Reference, or College Football Sports Reference, I should say, they have him down as 6'6" and 231. On his film, he did look a little bit slender and a little bit kind of, maybe that's why he's so quick. He looked like a thin guy. He looked like a thinner kind of a pass rusher. When he gets to the NFL, I bet you one of the things that Mark and I are going to be saying when Key gets to the NFL draft and we're talking about him on the onside kick is, I bet you the words that he needs to either bulk up, doesn't have the frame is there, he just doesn't have the size for the position. Size and the words bulking up and adding weight, adding muscle will be there when he gets there, because he just looks to me, he looks very thin. It's like, come on, add a little bit more pounds, get a little bit more oomph, especially when you change from college level all the way to the pro level. So that's really the only negative I see with him early on. I know this season, really dissecting the guys from the draft class, you're really going to look at this year as the main barometer for what they are going to go to and their strengths and their weaknesses. But that's just one thing that I have noticed right now. So if I had to say, just answering the question one more time so you guys have it, I'm not ready to say he'll be the best defensive prospect, but I think he will be the top 3 when we get to the NFL draft. But as always, let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. What do you think of Arden Key? Is he going to have a good season? Is he going to have a mediocre season? What do you think? What do you like in his game? What don't you like in his game? Let me know down below in the comment section. I want to thank you guys for listening to this edition of the Primetime Podcast. Yet again, all by myself for this one. Brandon enjoying the sunny Florida weather. I saw a picture. He was at Universal not too long ago. Brandon, I'm creeping on you, and I'm wishing that I was in Florida with you. But instead, I'm here in Chicago recording the podcast for you guys. Let me know what you think again down below in the comment section. You can follow me on Twitter at Ricky Widmer. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, and also check out patreon.com/most valuable podcast to help support the channel more so than hitting that like and subscribe button. I want to thank you guys for either watching or listening today. And as always, have a good day, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed a lot of emotion. If you want more, click this video right over my left shoulder. You will certainly not regret it.